As someone that is addicted to Wuwa's QUICKSWAP playstyle, I thought I'd make a video ranking each character and their QUICKSWAP capability. This is based off of how often they can QUICKSWAP and how much impact they have on their teams. These characters are ranked from best synergy to worst synergy, and I also have 2 special tiers at the very bottom. I'll be placing these stars at the top left corner of each character icon to represent how much experience I have with them. Also, I tried to make the order in which the characters are placed matter. In his liberation state, there's 3 different times you can quickswap while using his skill. And since he has 3 hypercubes, that's 9 different times to quickswap, not including his echo skill. Since his liberation lasts 24 seconds, you could technically switch to him every single second. And his fast playstyle causes his liberation to be fully charged by the end. As a result, you will be in his liberation state 90% of the time. All of her moves are quick swappable, and there's 2 openings for her skill, one in her forte circuit, and she has a lot of easy to understand combos and is easily the best swap character for beginners. Arlada also has really good synergy, with her only flaw being that she has to be on her field while using her liberation after using her forte. Otherwise, her kit is quick swappable, including her forte and her skill. A lot of quick swap rotations use liberation in the beginning, and since she doesn't have the buff from her forte, you can quick swap every shot that she takes. I would place this character higher, but she gets interrupted way too much while using her forte. But this is fixed with S1. Her forte is really good, as you can swap with every jump and has very generous timing. It also charges extremely fast, with her downside being that her skill can be hard to control and can deviate from the fight. Sanhua's quickswap is carried by her forte circuit, which is always available and it's fast to deploy, generated by her skill, intro skill, and liberation. This can also be charged before using liberation, causing for an even faster deploy. Spectral Rover isn't exactly special, but her skill has an extremely fast cooldown of 6 seconds, and her forte can be charged fast, with a dodge followed by a hold attack. Additionally, her liberation also charges extremely fast. Her forte circuit charges slower compared to some other characters and mainly relies on her basic attacks, which can cause some delay. But like Rochia, she can swap between her deployed E abilities, can cause for some really good combos. Encore is usually played as a hyper carry instead of a quick swap, but she does have a quick swap playstyle. Her skill has a decent timing when you can swap out and swap back in to finish the ability. And in her liberation state, quick swap playstyles consist of her using her skill every 3 seconds and swapping to another character instead of spamming her basic attacks. Sephiroth's playstyle is probably equal or even higher than Encore, and he should have been placed higher. But most of his quick swap playstyle is based off of spamming basic attacks and skills while in his liberation state. The downside being his liberation state doesn't last very long, but his forte circuit does charge extremely fast. His forte is also quick swappable, but he does feel a little bit more finicky to play compared to the other characters. I probably know the least about this character, but I do know that most of his damage output and impact comes from his liberation state, which can't be switched out of. These 3, being sub DPSs mainly, are not meant to be on the field for too long, with Yinling's attacks being extremely sluggish. and her skill and forte being the most notable quick swappable moves. Alto's damage comes from his air attacks, which leave him completely immobile in his state. However, his fast skill, a cooldown of 5 seconds, makes him somewhat viable, and his air attacks can be used to complement aerial characters. Mort has slow cooldowns on the skills, but it's cancelled out by his fast forte charge speed. These four, mainly for the most part, only have one move that can be quick swap, with Shorekeeper having her plunge, Rover's skill, Yohu's forte, and Yanwu's forte. Shorekeeper's quick swap consists of switching to her once, which activates a basic attack, and it slowly charges her forte circuit. For Havoc Rover, a lot of damage output comes from her being in her forte and spamming her basic attacks. Yanwu's skill is just literally a pillar, and is primarily a buffer, so you can't really do that much. Most of these characters' damage output requires them to be on the field, but Jian's final attack in his liberation state can be swapped out of, but he's on the field 90% of the time. In this state, he doesn't have a move like Encore, who can use her skill and still leave a decent impact. For Yang Yang, her kit is useless for the most part, and her forte charge is extremely slow. Most of these characters' damage, like previously said before, comes from them being on the field. Jianqin is the same as Chixia, where most of their impact comes from using their charge forte circuit. Now you can quick swap with Chixia's skills, but you can't use it too much because of its large cooldown, and you need at least one charge of her skill to use her forte circuit. For Lumi, I don't know much about her, but when I was testing her out, most of her damage and impact came from her bouncing around. Arena and Baiji are healers and basically don't have any quick swappable moves at all. On the top of that, they have extremely long cooldowns for their skills. I have a personal grudge against Taoqi, since her skill basically requires you to wait for the enemy to attack, and her 3-move forte circuit takes forever to use. Camellia has a primarily hypercarry playstyle, but can also be played as a quick swap. She has an extremely fast skill cooldown of 4 seconds, and you will be spamming it throughout most of her rotations. However, you have to be extremely careful about her Concerto energy, since you don't want to accidentally use her outro skill when swapping to another character, of which her special skill can be quick swapped if you don't care about her Blossom mode. Her spinning attacks can also be quick swapped, but it has a very tight timing and it's hard to get right. Tenshi is also primarily a hypercarry, and a lot of trouble comes from her being an aerial character, as only a few characters have aerial combat. This includes Sheji and Changli, but like Camellia, her skills have a low cooldown, and her aerial attacks can be used quickly without any repercussions. There is also a new jump tech discovered that allows for an extremely fast intro. Danjin must be played as a solo character. If you play Danjin, you are not playing Wuthering Waves. You are playing a Dark Souls game. But realistically, you can't really use Danjin as a quick swap character since her only quick swappable move is her heavy attack.